Hello, everybody, and welcome.
Hey.
Today I have Tom Cantrell and Arla Williams back again with us. Thank you, both of you, for joining us. This is the second time. Like I told Tom last night on the show, I said, there's no way that I could talk to Arla for just 1 hour and not have her back again. So it was just so fantastic. And guys, I have to say, I am so honored to have you, just to be talking to you both. I mean, you are both living legends in my opinion. And I'm sure that this is really shared by a lot of our viewers. You're just both amazing. I mean, guys, I'm sitting in we're backstage before the show and they're talking about fun times they've had with Bob Gimlin, the Bob Gimlin. Like that, I'm so honored. Like, I mean, so thank you so much for joining me, honestly. Aw. Let's say hi to some people. Hi, Vicky. Hi, Michelle. Gary Spikes. He's one of our fantastic moderators. Thank you so much. Catherine Gay, another one of our fantastic moderators. Everybody's piling in so fast. We have Denise. Oh, another one. Fantastic moderator. Judy Greenfield, thanks for joining us, Judy. Leonard, thank you, Leonard, for being here. You're so fantastic. Lorna Nicole, she's a great viewer. Paranormal Pixie, what a great, I see her all over the place. She's so sweet. And Penny Van, thank you. I hope I didn't miss anybody. Little Twisted, hey, Little Twisted, thanks for joining us again. You guys are great. Let me just go back over, and I think I said hi to Vicky. I don't like to miss anybody. I'm sorry if I missed you. All right, well, let's get going though. So hi, Kathleen. Thank you for joining us. Arla is back, like I said, for part 2. I wanted Tom to join us because you two have this years long friendship, right? And with so many fostered by, I feel like, by the forest people, by the Sasquatch people. Do you agree?
Definitely. Yep.
Yeah, very much so. Arla was the first person that I met in the Sasquatch community when I came on when I found them on the internet. She's the first person I met. That was back in like 2008 or 2009, I think. And we've been best buds ever since. Yeah, we've done some of the craziest stuff in the world together and had a ball doing it.
Oh, yeah. There lots of laughter and silliness and primitive camping and conferences together and traveling together. And we've had so much fun. No one could have had any more fun than we've had through the years.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. So what do you want to talk about today? What do you want to tell me about? Because I just want to kind of sit back and listen to what you guys tell me, some of your favorite stuff or your favorite encounters, or what blew you away. I mean, we've heard about Arla and Rick Taylor, and when he came to your spot. Tell us a little bit about that for the viewers that haven't heard about that, because that's an amazing story, Arla.
Okay. And it's actually Flash of Beauty has it on YouTube, on their YouTube page, and you can go watch all of these free. And one of my interviews was put up, I think, 2 or 3 weeks ago. Rick's was put up like a week or so after that. But the interesting thing with this, when this happened, I had no idea that I would ever hear the audio that he did. He couldn't take video, but he was allowed to do audio. And, I didn't even think that, I'd probably ever hear it. That was his and what he was doing. And so just a few days after, he sent me the audio, and I just broke down in tears. And the first thing I did was send it to Tom. And
Yes.
it, oh my gosh. I mean, I was there with it happening, but I was involved in what was going on. I was talking to the babies and, that kind of stuff, and
Gosh.
answering questions if Rick had one. Um, and so it just blew me away. It does every time I listen to that audio. It takes me right back there, and I can walk in my woods exactly where that happened. So it's I didn't know that was going to happen. They chose to do that. And I think one of the best things about it was, for years, the audio helped people, and it
Mhm.
helped them to see them in a different way. It helped them understand other things. I mean, Barb Shoup, she'll tell you that audio had such an effect on her. And I think Tom, when he heard it, he was like, "Oh, this is something.
The
This
first
is
thing that struck me on it, yeah, the first thing that struck me on it was when they asked him to step away from you and then
yes,
asked him, "Why do you have a gun?"
yeah."
That gun hadn't been out of his pocket ever,
No, I
you
didn't
know?
know he had it. That's what was cool.
Yeah.
And I wasn't privy to them talking to him. So I didn't know
Gosh.
what was going on till after the fact.
Wow.
Uh,
Yeah.
that right there tells you that it's not the gun that you carry. It's the
Mm-hmm.
person
That's right.
carrying the gun. But
Absolutely.
yeah, Tom
Absolutely.
And
was,
the
They
intent.
wanted it.
Yeah,
yes.
the intent. Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Because he had to carry because of
Right.
his job at the time.
Right.
Um,
Right.
he just, like, I guess, most law enforcement
Mm-hmm.
people,
Mm-hmm.
or
Mm-hmm.
anybody who has to carry a gun in their
Right.
job,
Right.
like he says, it did become just like he would pick up his car keys or his wallet or
Mm-hmm.
whatever
Of
and
course.
stick it,
Mm-hmm.
you
Mm-hmm.
know, in
Yeah.
his pocket.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, Tom was like, "Oh, yeah, this is something."
Magnificent. Yeah.
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 So we
The
had
only
a
thing
total skeptic who came to a gathering that you had, right, Arla? Just to what was
well,
his what was his
he wasn't a skeptic at that
Mm-mm,
time. He had
no.
had sightings.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Okay.
He wanted to get a face to face, something that
Gotcha. Okay.
he could lock
All
in
right.
on,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that's what happened there. I mean, what they did for him was
Mhm.
who was at a face to face,
Yeah. And
Wow.
yeah.
this whole thing was done for a purpose.
Hmm.
And those years ago that happened, it was done for a purpose. And we've talked a lot through the years, Tom and I both, about that audio and about hearing Rick. I mean, you can tell by listening to him on that audio, he's, wild. And
Yeah.
there were 18 people there at my place. We were making a drum. I had a native friend come from Washington and teach a drum making workshop. There were 18
Hmm.
people there. We had different things going on around the fire. This happened out away from the fire, but they could still hear. They heard owl caller doing the owl
Hmm.
call while they were sitting there around the fire. They
Hmm.
knew something was going on. They just didn't know exactly
Mhm.
what. Um, Interesting thing about that, one of my good friends, Barbade, she said afterwards, we were talking about it, and she said, when you two walked back up from the woods, he looked like Moses. He was all lit up. He just
I can
had
hear
this,
Barb saying that. Yes.
Oh,
yeah, that aura around him. He was just lit up,
wow.
with that
Hmm.
energy.
Mhm.
So yeah, and
Wow.
now for that story to be told like it is, I think I checked earlier, and he had already had 82,000
Wow.
people views, over
Wow.
82,000
Hmm.
views. And
Wow.
so people are seeing something that's it's important, and it brings to the light what I purpose to do as far
Mhm.
as
Hmm.
helping, and for Tom too. These are things we've talked about for years and years, that your heart, that plays a big part. And Rick's got such a good heart. And I'd been out with
Hmm.
Rick more than that time, and
Hmm.
had stuff going on in different places, not here, but in different places. Um, but yeah, for this to happen. Tom, what was that? It used to just be on the internet. It was it was the BFF or Bigfoot Forum. Was that it? It
Yes,
was
Bigfoot Forum. Yeah. Hmm.
it was where you could go and be chewed up if you
Yeah,
share.
that's what it was. Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
And
so
Yeah.
good.
Rick was so excited about that audio, and so wanted to share that with people. He put it on there,
Oh, no.
and it got pretty rough for him. He called
Oh.
me and he said, "Would you come on there and help me? I don't know how to answer. I mean,
Mhm.
they're chewing me up or whatever." And I'd already decided that that was never a place I was going to go.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I thought about it, and I told him, I said, I will. I will come
Hmm.
on there. That thread was over 10,000. That's how
Hmm.
many responses that was in that thread.
Wow.
And
Hmm.
it was pretty rough. There were two guys that were really rough on me.
Mm.
And I had after the thread was closed, they had messaged me and told me that if they were going to believe that from anyone, they would believe it from me, because of how respectful I was to everybody, no matter what was said to me.
Mhm.
I
Hmm.
didn't come back at them, or I didn't do anything. Of course, they didn't believe it, but I thought that was kind of
Yeah.
cool that
Yeah. Definitely.
they said
Mhm.
that. So
Mhm.
that was
Why do
Rick's.
people
Okay,
why do
that was
people
Rick's
feel a need
intro.
to do that?
Just
You know?
it's just because they believe. The simple thing about um, looking at something, I mean, we all hold our beliefs. All
Mhm.
right. If you don't believe
Yeah.
that that's possible, and then somehow someone comes along and is talking about that, you can't believe it, because if that is true, if you believe it, the question you ask yourself is, what else in my life is not true
Hmm.
that I believe? And that's
You
a
know.
scary place for a lot of people. Now,
Yeah.
some people they just like to create or stir the pot or whatever.
Right.
They just
Right.
like to
There are those.
create problems. But there are people who truly have a problem, because that's more than uh, they can believe, and not doubt other things in their
I'm
life. So,
right now I'm in the process of converting Bigfoot of the Blues into an audio book.
Yeah.
And I just finished chapter 2. Part of that that I covered talks about a gentleman, an anthropologist who had some renown, who had been to Southeast Asia somewhere, one of the countries in Southeast Asia, and a young boy went through a transition and became a 600-year-old man, spouting, talking about what should be and such.
Oh,
and,
wow.
and of course, all the other the other doctors so attacked him for that, and he came back with this. What is in your life that is so important and so strong that this tears that apart? Examine yourself before you attack me, type thing. And I thought that was very apropos to this.
Yes.
Yeah. 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 So, Tom was like, I guess, the third person that ever heard that audio outside of what, Rick had shared, I'm sure, with some of his good friends. So, yeah, that's, it's always been important. It's on my Facebook page. It's probably on Tom's page somewhere, that audio that
Somewhere,
anybody.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
posted it too, because I think I'd sent a message to you, Arla, and we played it on one of the shows, on the Bigfoot show on Wednesday night before Tom joined, and it was like, but I wasn't sure, so she said, "Oh yes, please do."
Yeah.
So that was, and that just amazing.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's why that was done, was to be shared.
Wow, that's awesome.
That is one of the signature moments in Sasquatch research. It really is. Of everything that I've ever seen done or been a part of, that because that was so out in the open, and there was more than one person there, and it was recorded and recorded well.
Yeah.
Again, that the old, reproducible, measurable evidence, and that's part of it. And another one, and one we don't talk about much, is what happened to us in Georgia in 2016 when Bob was there.
Yeah.
Wasn't Bob there, or was it the year before?
No.
When were a group of us sitting around the fire, and all of a sudden there's two Sasquatch join us at the fire.
That would have been the year before.
2015. 2015, yeah.
2015.
Yeah. I'm sitting there at the fire, and there's a lady across the fire from. All of a sudden, her lower lip starts quivering, and she's, and I did that, looked back over my head, and there's two Sasquatch standing right behind me.
Yeah, she stood up, and she's standing up and looking over there, and she says, it's, I don't remember if she said Bigfoot or Sasquatch, but she said there are two over there. But yeah,
and they went back in the brush. They just left, went back. You, Jonathan, Keith, and little Zach.
Gail.
Huh? Gail too. Yeah.
Yep. Gail
followed
too.
Them back into the brush.
Oh.
Yep.
Did they see the map?
I took off. When I saw them, I asked, "Can I come back there? Where you're at?" And was told yes. And so I was barefooted. I just I didn't even put my shoes on, and that was no place to be walking barefoot. I mean, no light. We just took off, and it amazing things. And we had people say, "Well, where's your proof?" I don't think I've ever used that word as something I'm trying to do is to prove anything.
Yes.
Mhm.
So,
Right.
yeah.
Right. Susan F is asking, this was in Georgia that this occurred?
Yes,
Can you say
Yeah,
what area,
well,
like what in general?
yeah, what we
in
are
western
talking about
Georgia.
now.
Western.
Hmm.
Wow. Yeah.
Hmm.
So
So
that's that. Cool.
the thing with Rick happened in Oklahoma.
Yes. Right.
So
Hmm.
Right. Little Twisted
We,
had commented back, Arla, before we get too far ahead. She said she was commenting on your beautiful artwork
oh,
behind you.
that's my
Mhm.
tie-dye.
That's awesome. Yes,
I
love
love goddesses. I always have. And so you can see there are others up there. And then of course I have the chakras over there.
That probably
So,
comes from being the high priestess of Wu.
oh yes. Oh yeah, we gotta tell that story. That's hilarious. And Tom Powell, most people who've been in the Bigfoot world for any length of time will know who Tom Powell is. He's an author. He was a teacher. He is he's really cool. Tom is, and Tom and Red Stripe had put together a conference in Richland, Washington. And I had gone out there to speak. Well, the week before, there was someone, I'm not going to name names or anything, they had really been on me and Tom, and they'd called us lots of different things. I mean, Tom was the Pope, I was the Immaculate Mother of Wu, but this one, they had called us kooks, that Tom and I were kooks. Well, that's no big deal.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Whatever.
we're at the conference. I had a girlfriend. We stayed in the room together. We went down for breakfast. And as we come in to eat, Tom Powell and Guy Edwards were sitting there. And they said, "You girls, come on, sit down here. There's room here with us." And so we sat down, talked a minute. And Tom says, "Well, Arla, what's going on in your world?" It just come out of my mouth. I didn't purpose to say that, but I said, "Well, Tom, I'm pretty upset." And he said, "Well, what's wrong?" And I said, "Well, Tom and I were called kooks this week." And, he's looking at me, and I'd said, "I'm not a kook. I'm a kookette." And so I became the kookette at that point, which, and, Tom was like, "You got to tell that when you give your talk."
All right. Speaking of that conference, recognize the shirt.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I've still got mine, too. That was an awesome, awesome conference.
Oh,
There was all
it
kind of
was.
people there. Meldrum, the Olympic Project. I can't even remember now who all.
The DNA lady,
Melba Ketchum was
Melba
there
Ketchum.
via
Yeah,
Nice.
and
like Zoom.
yeah, that was a great conference. I took a bath on that one, but it was a great conference.
Yeah, it was, and we really had an awesome time. I mean, we had a banquet. Oh my gosh. And, I never go anywhere like to a banquet or anything. And I didn't have a dress or that I could wear to a banquet. So I went to Goodwill and I found this awesome black, stretchy dress, and I had glitter. And so anyway, I thought, oh my gosh, this is so wild to be here, and I get to dress. Well, Tom and I had talked, and Tom asked me, he said, "Would you sing to Bob?" while you're out here? And I said, well, yeah, I guess I can. So I, fiddled around with some songs, what I thought I wanted to sing. And I ended up singing Rodeo. And I've misplaced that video. It is awesome. So at that, I got up and I sang Rodeo to Bob. And oh my God. He loved it. He was on. That's what he was. So that set a precedence for me to sing to Bob whenever I was somewhere with Bob. And just real quick, mine and Bob's friendship is not based on Bigfoot at all.
Really?
Mine and Bob's friendship is based on someone who was a family friend of my family. I grew up with his kids and spent time at his ranch, even rode a bull in his rodeo school.
Oh my God.
When I was a girl. But it was Jim Shoulders. That was Bob's mentor as a young man when he was rodeoing. And when he found that out, Bigfoot went out the door. We hardly ever talked Bigfoot when we were together.
Jim Shoulders was the #1 rider, a rough stock rider in rodeo for many, many years back during the 50s.
And very late 40s, I think. They had a ranch there where I grew up in Henrietta. I'd been there many times, knew his kids, his family. He was very good friends with my grandfather, and there was all kinds of stories there of stuff they got me into. So when I was a girl, but Bob loved that. That connected us to my youth and his youth, actually.
Bob probably has to get tired of talking a little bit about Bigfoot anyway, I would think, right? Like, geez.
I don't think he does. I don't think he does.
Maybe not. Do any of us that really love the... No.
Well, see, I've got a picture of this guy sitting at a party, all sad face.
Yes.
And the caption says, what happens when you're at a party and nobody wants to talk Bigfoot?
That's true. Susan had a comment a while back, and I think it was when we were talking about I believe it was when we were talking about the campfire that you were at with Georgia, and she said, were you with Grumpy? Do you know what she's talking about, or who she's talking about?
No. Is that Keith's one that Keith is?
I don't know, Susan. You'll have to share it with us because I'm not sure.
Yeah.
It may be connected to Keith Beard.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, all right.
Yeah, he was there. He was one of the people that followed Arla back in the brush. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. There were a few that followed me back there, but I mean, it's what I've done all my life. I just take off into the woods. I always ask if I know they're there. My grandmother taught me there are neighbors, and sometimes you see your neighbors and sometimes you don't, but you always have respect for your neighbors. So I would never rush back there without asking them. And we even saw back there was a set of twins that was back there. So cool. It was pretty cool.
Susan is saying, his name was Bob too. She said he has passed away. He was a friend of
Oh yeah. Yes. He was there.
Okay.
But so we've had, through the years, we've camped a lot together. Tom and I have, and it was always fun,
Yeah, we camped together in 2014 at Rendezvous 1 up in at Elk Meadows. Yeah, and that was an absolute blast. I mean, we're sitting there at the campfire watching two Sasquatch on the hill opposite us. We're coming back in the road, and there's two of them standing in the road in front of the car, which was
And I think
one of the funniest things I've ever been through.
I think the coolest thing was seeing the bears. You know,
Oh,
I love that,
Oh.
seeing the bears that were around. I mean, we have
there were
bear
lots
now
of bears.
here in Oklahoma, but that's like has the biggest bear population in California up in that area, which is up by Willow Creek and where the Patterson-Gimlin film was taken. We were, what, Tom, 30 or 35 miles from the nearest town back in on the main road.
Yeah, 34 miles from the nearest road and nearest town. And where we saw those two in the road right in front of us, if you stepped off where they stepped off, you dropped right down into the head of Bluff Creek, where Roger and Bob were, where they got the film. So that's it all. And as they stepped off the road, she said to me, "I'm the one you know as Patty, and this is my son." And
oh my gosh, that is so cool.
Yeah.
What is her? Somebody I heard her name. Somebody had mentioned her name, but because it's not her name,
I can't remember.
It's not Pat. I mean, we know her. Is it? Does it begin with an E, like Aerith or something like that? Does that sound right? Like Aerith?
It's. I think it's. I know what you're talking about, but I don't remember. You know what it was.
I don't either.
Yeah. Does anybody in the?
I've just known
any
her.
of our. Yeah, because I recently.
It was the Russians that named her Patty.
Yeah.
Bayanov.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, you know, and that was done on purpose too.
Absolutely.
That was done on purpose. The whole thing with Bob and Roger. That wasn't something that just happened. What was going on? And one of my friends is an astrologer. And we were talking about the Patterson-Gimlin, and she said, "I'm going to go back and look at the chart for then and see what it looks like." And I can't even remember now what planets were aligned, but it was almost like all of the planets that have been getting in line for like the age of Aquarius, because the age of Aquarius actually isn't one date. It was a series of things that were happening. And she was like blown away. She said, "Oh, if there ever was a time for something to come out that's the truth, that astrologically it was at that time."
Oh, wow.
So, but I already knew that anyway, that was done. There's a lot of things that have been done, like Paul Freeman. A lot of the things that for so many years people said, "Oh, that's a hoax. That's not real." People are now finding out those things were real. And all of these things have pushed us. They have pushed humanity to look deeper into, you know, what's going on. So that I just love it. I mean, I can go back and look through with just my life and see the things that, you know, if you'd ever told me before I actually did, before Kashima came, that I was going to be on podcasts and that I was even going to talk about them in public, I would have told you no. That's never going to happen. Never, never. I will never do that. And I am. And yeah. So yeah,
you know,
changes.
Before we get, well, I don't want to get too far. Tammy Johnson is saying Tom talked about the twins on another show, and she has
different twins
and another
different
J
set
name?
of twins.
Okay, different. That's what I was thinking. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those were Rajase's twins.
Okay. Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Now, Paranormal Pixie is saying that we are in the midst of the age of Aquarius, and I've heard that recently. Do you both agree with that? Okay.
Yes.
All right.
It started a long time ago, years ago, and
Back in the 60s.
it was like it got started, and then things would happen, and so along the way, little things have happened because I've gone through and read a lot of astrologers who have said, okay, we had the dawning on this day. We had the opening on this day. And so what's happening is it's a kind of like something that's flowing through. It's not like, oh, we've got this one day.
Mm-hmm.
It's like we have this time and we're changing. And as that second one came where people were talking about it, there had been a shift. And if Patterson Gimlin did anything, they created a shift in people's paradigm. They made people think, what in the world? You know, so that was a big opening for a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
True. I can't think of anything related to, you know, whether you want to say weird, paranormal, you know, things that we're not taught that actually exist. I can't think of anything else that it was like, here it is. Can either of you? I really can't, you know. Wow, that's a very good. Paranormal Pixie saying that it's to last about 200 years. Does that seem? I mean, that seems about and I feel like it's escalating.
Oh, now, it is. It is. You know, you see evidence of it every day on Facebook, and then you see the counterpart to that evidence too. But yes, and it's a phenomenal time right now. A phenomenal time for being alive and seeing all the different things. Tom and I went to Canada. I flew out to Washington, and we took his car up to Canada. We did a little conference at Maple Ridge, and there Brian Bland and let's see, Brian Bland and Michael. The name went. Anyway, and Dr. Vandernagel were there speaking. Wow. And
Michael Beers.
I don't know why I talked to him. I don't know. I had a but that was so much fun. And we had a ball there.
We did. It's the only time I've ever seen a Border Patrol person laugh. She got him to laugh. Those people have their sense of humor surgically removed when they take that job. And she got him to laugh. I've never seen that happen before or since.
Wow, that's great. Yeah. Tom's like, we're going to jail. We're going to get...
I'd already met everybody inside the office. First time we went up there, Sue and I went up and got to the border. Please come inside. Spent about 20 minutes in there explaining my past life. What's this arrest you have here? You know? Well, there wasn't really an arrest. They just detained me for a while. And explained that all the way. Finally got out. Next time we went up, Sue says, okay, I'm driving this time. You just sit there in the corner and look pretty and let me do the talking. And of course, they said, "Come inside, please." I said, "Okay, miss, I'm doing the talking. Where did it all go wrong for you?" So we had to explain another thing or two, and then they let us go again. But yeah, we had good times getting through the border, and she made some laugh. And
Well, I don't know how that happened, but he did, so but anyway, we got to camp. Bindernagel was at our camp, and oh my gosh, he was such an awesome man. So awesome to talk to. He was so open to listen to, what you had to say. And of course,
he was.
yeah, he really was. He was very interested in the glyphs and looking at them and thinking about them, which was really cool, for me.
Right.
But
one of the neatest things that happened up there was you and Todd, and Brian together. When you were speaking to his teacher, Arishna, and they were keeping him involved so that he wouldn't see you guys speaking. Oh, hey, you're back. Welcome
I know,
back.
like, oh no. I was so scared that I'm like, I don't know what's going to happen. Like, I hope that the whole show was, that like everything wasn't going to disappear. I'm like, oh no, Grizzly's going to kill me. My first show by myself, and I took it down. Thank you. I'm like, just dogs amongst you. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry, everybody. Sorry about that. Well, that was and
there she goes again.
Yeah. At any rate, to finish that story, since we are being interrupted now, I'll get my finger off the button. But you were talking to Ari, and Brian was behind you, wasn't he? He was on the trail behind you.
He was on the trail behind me, and we stopped when I saw Ari up the hill, and I stopped and turned and was looking up to where Ari was. Todd was standing beside me at that point, but I was talking about Ari and what he looked like, and they were, every time Todd would turn to try to see Ari, they would start wood knocking or whatever on the other side. And so Brian would turn around real fast and see what was going on over there behind him. So that was funny, because I was describing Ari to him.
He just wasn't ready yet to see them. They didn't think. And what did Ari call him? The white-haired boy?
Yes, he said the white-haired boy. So that was funny. So a lot of times you'll hear me call Todd the white-haired boy, even though he's not that much younger than I am, but still, yeah. But oh my gosh, we've camped. Oh gosh, along the Columbia River. We've camped in Oregon, Georgia, Washington.
You were at Three Bears with us too, weren't you?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep. That's a neat place. We had
Jonathan and I came out and got to go to Three Bears. So yeah,
that was the outing that my car died.
Yes, it was. We gave up the car, which was an experience in itself. I mean, you could make a comedy movie out of things Tom and I have done over the years, and there would be other people that would be a part of that movie that ended up having things. So, yeah, we've had an awesome life together. He's my brother.
Yeah.
So I
Then I
have
find
several
out that
brothers.
we are related through the Guthrie
Yeah,
clan. Mm.
through a Scottish clan. So, yeah, we've had a lot of fun.
Yeah. Charging through the night, laughing our fool heads off over stuff, and here we are,
Yep.
both in our 70s and still charging through the night.
Pretty much. Pretty much.
Poor
That's,
Barbara, she's having a terrible time, isn't she?
yeah.
I'm messaging my family. Can everybody make sure that they stay off the internet? We're supposed to have unlimited, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah,
it's weird too because because we don't typically have this problem at night, right, Tom, during our show, but it's this
right
during the day. Well, I do live out in the boondocks too, so
Yeah.
She lives so far back in the woods you have to pipe the sunlight in.
Yeah, that's true.
Wake up in the morning and scrape the hoot owls off the window so you can see out.
Yeah. Hi, John. Oh, there we go. All right,
Hang in there.
I'm so glad I had Tom. Thank you again. I'm so glad. Go ahead, just keep talking. I'll probably drop off again.
I used to live so far back in the woods, I drove towards town to go hunting.
That's true. You know the feeling.
Oh my gosh. Tom, what do you think is the most fun we've ever had?
I think night driving down across Alabama and Mississippi, headed to Georgia for the laid back conference. She'd pick me up at the airport in Little Rock, Arkansas.
Yeah.
And we started out and it got dark on us and we were driving through the night, two old people driving through the night, going to a camp out, and we were just laughing and giggling and having the most fun.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Of all the things we've done, that was that and Elk Meadows. Elk Meadows was just so fantastic. That's why I want to redo that next summer. I want to go back to Elk Meadows.
Awesome, and I'll bring warmer clothes.
Yeah. Well, it'll be in August, so it won't quite be as cold. We were at 5,500 foot elevation, and in mid-June it was cold at night.
Yes, it was, and there was 3 Oklahoma women and a Kansas woman that loaded up and drove out, and none of us were prepared for the nights, and it ended up 3 of them, they went into town where it was warmer. And it was, let's see, in Tom's tent was me and Susan Bland and Jackie Tonks. We were all of us women were laid across the floor. And of course, Tom was on his princess bed. And he had a heater in there, so it kept us from freezing to death. So that was fun.
Well, we had that outing. We had 5 face-to-face sightings in camp.
Yeah.
On that outing, yeah. I really want to get back there next summer. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
If there's any way it's going to happen.
Tell the story about Kathy and how all of that manifested and what we did about it.
Kathy always liked to put her tent up away from everybody because she liked the interaction with the youngsters at night. Well, about the 3rd morning, she came to camp and her eyes looked like 2 burnt holes in a blanket. I mean, she was just beside herself with being tired. And Arla says to her, Jackie, what's wrong? Aren't you getting any rest? She says, no, they won't let me get any rest at all. She says, well, you can tell them to just leave you alone and so you can rest. She says, can I? And Arla says, yes, you can. She's okay. Tonight I want you to leave me alone so I can sleep and go play with Nancy. Poor Nancy. She and her husband Russ were sleeping at the other end of the camp, 100 yards or so from where our tent was, my tent was, and they slept in hammocks. And that's the night the term Sasquatch pinata came into being, because they would run by and swat them on the butt in the hammock. That was sight one with Kathy. One of the last nights we were there, she and I sat up by the fire late and just talking. And hi, Barb, good to see you. She said, "Welcome to the Tom and Arla show." So Kathy stayed up. I headed for bed, and Kathy was just cleaning up, making sure the fire was down, and the coffee pot was ready for the morning. And I just had one leg headed in the bed, and the other one just squatting down. I'd taken all my pills and everything, and then we heard, "Tom, Tom, I need you. Come help me, please." So I said, "Hang on, Kathy, I'll be right there. Let me put my pants on." So I put my pants back on, pulled the shirt on. I didn't even put any shoes on. Went outside, and here's poor Kathy bent over and frozen in place. She had walked back to her tent, got about 12 feet from it, and a Sasquatch stood up right in front of her, right face to face. And it just froze her. Now you got to remember, that's a safety thing. That keeps her from running amok, especially in that area where we were, because there were ditches that were just vertical sided and 10, 12 feet deep. I mean, you run off one of those, you could kill yourself. And so I looked up, and he had moved by this time from the front of the tent around to the side, just at the back of it. There was a Port Orford cedar tree there, and he was standing behind that, just to the edge of that tree. And I looked up and I saw him. I said, "Hi, big fella, how are you doing tonight?" And I was sitting there listening, and he was apologizing to her. She was apologizing to him, and neither one of them were listening to one another. It was so funny. And her in this bent over position, I said, "What'd you see, Kathy?" She's, "Nothing but a big redwood log. All I saw was his legs." So I told him, I said, "Okay, I've got her. She's under control." And he released her then, and he went on back in the timber. And I told her to get her cat and just throw it in my tent, and which she did. But that shook her up bad enough. I would talk to her just earlier this spring, and she was still having problems from that. And I think we got them settled. You know how Kathy is. It takes a while to get her mind going in the right direction. But yeah, that was Kathy in camp. Or she's always worthwhile in camp. But that was a great one. It looks like they were totally on our own. Bart can't get back in.
that could be a problem.
Yeah.
At this point in our life, leaving us on our own.
Oh my heaven! Now, what real good story do you have? I helped Arla with her book when she wrote her first book, My Life with the Hairy People, and I edited it for her. And I told her it's the only book I have ever edited, ever worked with, that the term cattywampus was in when I got done with it.
Oh my gosh!
Are you working on another book now?
Yes, I am. Trying. It's so in depth and has so much about what's going on now with me, and
Mhm.
actually Kashima, and there is another ancient now like Kashima
Oh, is
that
there?
is working with some star people, and
Mm.
so we are going through that and what's happening with that. So my first book was actual stories pretty much of what had happened between me and of course the hairy kids, and then the other things that went on through my life. This one's a little harder, and
Mhm.
encompasses a lot of different things. So but I'm working on it, and I love sending Tom stuff, and he's like, wow, because it's not basically the Sasquatch world. But one of my favorite things was when Red Stripe came for you,
Yeah.
and
Oh,
uh,
yeah.
that meant a lot to me that he would allow me to be a part of that.
Mhm.
So
Yeah. Yeah. That's a story all of its own. Boy,
yes, it is.
uh, we got a new visitor with us here. I see.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is there anything you
Hi,
want to say in this bar?
my name is Barbara, and I want to really apologize for being the worst host ever. Oh my God. Yeah. Oh my God. You know what? It's YouTube, because people are yeah, my family, no one's on the internet. So all it's yeah, so I think YouTube. So
Yep.
I really apologize. Or Streamlink or whatever. Guys, this has been great though. Thank you so much. Thanks for just taking away when I kept falling off. Um,
Are there
thanks.
any questions? Does anybody have any questions? I think we lost
Joining
Barb
us.
Bless her
again.
heart.
I would love to have back on.
Oh man.
Well, thank you, everybody. I guess our
Yes.
time is up. Uh,
We've had an awesome time.
oh,
Uh,
yeah.
yeah, sharing what's been going on with us, and how lucky we are to have been in this as long as we have, and seen the changes in people
Hmm.
that we've seen. It's really awesome.
It really is. 15 years ago, we were kooks to most people. We were on the fringe. Now
Yeah,
we're
we were.
middle of the road. We
Oh
aren't
my
haven't
goodness.
changed anything, but everything's shifted.
Yeah,
And
it did, and it was supposed to.
yeah.
So yeah, we just keep doing what it is that we know to do, and
Hmm.
that's
That's
the
right. And what
important
we're
thing.
asked to do.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
I didn't think I was going to be writing another book, but here I am writing another book. Red Stripe Kenesha says, you have time now, and you need something to do. You got to stay busy, and you can't sit around doing nothing, or you won't be here very long.
Yeah.
But if you keep going, you'll be here another 10 years working for us. And I don't know if I like that part all that well, but
Well,
I suppose it's better than the alternative.
yes, because there's a whole lot of people that
Hmm.
wouldn't even be close to being ready to let you go. So, uh, you know,
Yeah, but there's such a great world waiting on the other side.
true, but you'll just be back in the thick of it. So
That 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 pretty blonde girl's back again.
I see her.
We're all done signing off, so you can take it from there.
You guys, I want to thank you so much for being here. My leaving. Oh no. Oh shoot. Oh,
If you do, just
don't
shut
know.
us off.
All right. I guess I'll I'm removed again. Trying to take me off. All right, you guys. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you, everybody in the chat, for being here. I don't know whether I'm on or off.
We hear
We
you.
can hear you.
Well, thank you, Arla. Thank you, Tom. You guys have a
Anytime.
great night. Thank you so
All
much,
right.
coast to coast and world. Good night, everybody. I'm so
Good night.
sorry about this. Good night. And wait.
See you later.
I'm trying to lay out.